Should start. Yep, we're good. All right, I'm going to start again. Give all praises, all honor, all glory to the God of gods, the Most High. Yahweh, we do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, right? Give all praises for giving us another week in here and a chance for us to get right with the Most High, to draw nearer to him as these end time prophecies continue to come out, right? So this week we're gonna go back into a few weeks ago we did the Trace and Dan, where we went through some prophecies pertaining to the tribe of Dan. And this week we're gonna continue looking into the history of the tribe of Dan and just seeing what exactly happened with them, right? Now, for us to understand what happened with Dan, it's going to take a little bit of history, right? We're going to have to go into some history of the world. Now, anyone knows what age? So when we left Egypt, right? You know what age that's known as in history? Anyone knows the name of that age in history? Because for us to find out, so the Bible is recorded history, right? It's our history. But in the world, they recorded history during different ages, right? The time of, you could bring up that last one. Yep. Right? The time of the Bible is known as, or the time of the Exodus is known as the Iron Age. When we left Egypt, right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You could read from the top.
The Israelites' departure from Egypt, known as the Exodus, is traditionally placed by biblical chronologically around 1446 through 1447 BCE, early date, or according to another common view, in the 13th century BCE, late date. Generally, on the 14th of Nisan, the departure followed 10 plagues and ended 430 years in Egypt.
All right, so this is saying that that the world acknowledges when we left was around 1446 BCE, right? Which is about 1,400 years before Christ, right? But let's read it in the Bible. You can keep this up there for now, but let's get 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1, because we're going to have to go into a little bit of history just to understand different time frames and what was going on. 1 Kings 5 and 1.
This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 5.
Salakia, 6 and 1.
Oh. The book of 1 Kings chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 408th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel.
So according to the Bible, right, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign, it was only 480 years after we left Egypt, right? So between us leaving Egypt to when Solomon reigned, or the start of Solomon reign, was 476 years. Go ahead.
In the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Adawan.
Right, so we see that about 476 years after we left, Solomon reigned, and then he started to build the house of the Most High, right? So you can continue with that.
Early date, 1446 through 1447 BCE. Based on a literal interpretation of 1 Kings 6 and 1, which places the event 480 years before the 4th year of King Solomon's reign.
Okay. So that's basically what we just read. So that period, I just want to go through these slides real quick before we get into it. There should be one down there that says, click on the, remove that. Click on the next one. Nope, not that. Remove it. There's supposed to be one that says Iron Age. Yep, this one.
The Iron Age is the prehistoric and early historical period, roughly starting between 1200 BC and 600 BC.
So when you see BC, right, it says that we left at 1446 to 1447. BC actually counts downwards. So we left before the Iron Age, actually. We left in 14. So at 1200, about 200 years after we left, was the start of what they call Iron Age. And that just basically means when people started using iron in building things, like when we start making swords and stuff like that with iron, because they weren't like producing iron. You know, you got to get iron, you have to smelt it and, you know, build furnaces to boil, to break it down from the minerals so that you could get the iron, right? So about 200 years after we left was when they started the so-called Iron Age. Go ahead.
Characterized by the widespread adoption of iron smelting technology for tools and weapons, replacing bronze. It followed the Bronze Age, introducing stronger, more accessible metal tools that revolutionized farming, warfare, and agriculture.
All right, so we see that there was basically shortly after we left, there was a shift in what's basically being used, widespread. Now weapons, tools, agriculture products are being made from iron. Go ahead.
Key aspects of the Iron Age: technology and materials. While iron existed previously, the Iron Age began when people learned to smelt iron and eventually carburize it to make steel, a harder metal.
Okay, so material. It's basically saying the same thing, that when we started, iron has always been around, but it's just became mass. Everybody start using it now to make tools and weapons and what have you. Go ahead.
Regional start times. It began around 1200 BC in the Middle East, Greece, and India, but arrived later in Europe.
So you see that we were using in Greece, in the Middle East, what you know as the Levant, right? In our area, we were using it some 300 years before it went to Europe. Go ahead.
900 to 500 BC, and
that's it, right? So you could remove that off screen. So the point that I'm showing is about 200 years after we moved was when the Iron Age started, right? Now, this is all going to come back in very important, because to understand what happened with the tribe of Dan, we have to understand the time frame, right? Now, we're going to go rehash just for people who might not have seen the first lesson. We're just going to rehash real quick, right? Let's go to Joshua 19 and verse 40. We want to just rehash real quick.
Said 1920?
19 and 40.
19 and 40. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 19 and verse 40.
You can go straight to 47, actually.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 19 and verse 47.
So we remember from the last class, Dan was the 7th to get their land, right? from the remaining 7. Dan was the last of all the tribes to get their land. So they basically had the remaining whatever was left over. Go ahead.
And the coast of the children of Dan went out too little for them.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the children of Dan went up to fight against Lashem
Mm-hmm.
and took it and smote it with the edge of the sword and possessed it and dwelt therein and called Lashem Dan after the name of Dan, their father.
Right. So we see that Dan's inheritance was too small. So they went to Lashem, which is also known as Laish. That is in the north. They ended up from being a southern area all the way up north to the border of like on Zidon. Right. They didn't stay where they were at. They went all the way up north. Right. So let's go to Judges 18:1.
The book of Judges, chapter 18 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh and set up the
Judges 18.
Oh,
you went to
Salakia.
Joshua. God.
Salakia.
Yeah, those two books are always.
Yeah.
I get caught up with them too. It's the next book after Joshua.
You said 18:1, right?
18:1, Khan. So we're just doing a quick recap of what happened so that we can understand. Go ahead.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 18 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
In those days, there was no king in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, the tribe of Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in.
Mm-hmm.
For unto that day, all their inheritance had not fallen unto them among the tribes of Israel.
So in Judges 19, it mentioned that they went to Lashem, and this is just basically telling the story. Like in Judges, Joshua was just a summary, and this is going in depth into it, how they went into this land. But let's skip forward. If you didn't see the previous class, I would strongly recommend you watch it just to get the history on Danites, because this is just a continuation of that. But I want certain things we have to understand certain things from before then, right? You could go to verse let's see. You could go to verse 28. Start at verse 27. Let's start 26.
The book of Judges,
chapter Judges 18:26.
18 and 26. And the children of Dan went their way. And when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned.
They had the funny story with they stole the brothers Micah's his ephod and his priest, and Micah and his people of his house came up to them trying to get it back, and they basically told them, "Watch your mouth." Let's go back into it. Let's go back into it. Yeah. Let's just start at verse 18.
Khan. The book of Judges, chapter 18 and verse 18.
17, Salakia.
17. And the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up and came in thither and took the graven image and the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image. And the priest stood in the entering of the gate with the 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war.
Mm-hmm.
And these went into Micah's house and fetched the carved image, the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image. Then said the priest unto them, "What do ye?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said unto him, hold thy peace.
So when they came, so Micah rounded up the man Micah after they took his graven image, his ephod, and his priest. Micah rounded up the people of his house or nearby, and they pursued after the members of the tribe of Dan. And when they caught up to him, they said, "What? Repeat that verse again from the top, verse 19."
And they said unto him, hold thy peace.
Mm-hmm.
Lay thine hand upon thy mouth.
They told him, "Hold your peace, be quiet, lay your hand upon your mouth." Go ahead.
And go with us.
Mm-hmm.
And be to us a
Oh,
father.
Salakia. This is the priest. The priest actually seen them, Salakia. And the priest was like, "What are y'all doing?" And they said, "Hold your peace. Come with us and be a priest unto us." Go ahead.
And be to us a father and a priest.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better for thee to be a priest unto the house of one man, or that thou be a priest unto a tribe and a family in Israel?
Mm-hmm. So they ask him, which one's better? You gonna be a priest to one man's household or to a whole tribe? Go ahead.
And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the teraphim and the graven image and went in the midst of the people.
So the priest decided to go with the Danites. Go ahead.
So they turned and departed, and put the little ones and the cattle and the carriage before them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were a good way from the house of Micah, the men that were in the house near to Micah's house were gathered together and overtook the children of Dan.
So the men that were near to Micah's house, they decided to band together and let's go chase these Danites because they spoiled Micah's house, right? Go ahead.
And they cried unto the children of Dan, and they turned their faces and said unto Micah, what aileth thee that thou comest with such a company?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, ye have taken away my gods which I have made, and the priests, and ye are gone away. And what have I more? And what is this that ye say unto me? What aileth thee?
So when they came, he like, what was wrong with you? And they said, you guys robbed everything I got, and you asking me what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you, right? Go ahead.
And the children of Dan said unto him, let not thy voice be heard among us.
So he said, we don't want to hear nothing. Go ahead.
Lest angry fellows run upon thee, and those lose thy life.
It said, unless angry fellows run up on you and you lose your life. Go ahead. You could tell what type of guys Dan were, right? Yeah, hood guys, right? Go ahead.
With the lives of thy household.
And not just you lose your life, you lose the life of your household also. We're killing everybody. Go ahead.
And the children of Dan went their way. And when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back unto his house.
Micah made a good business decision, right? It's no point at this point going on. Like, y'all can have it. Go ahead.
And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priests which he had, and came unto Laish, unto a people that were a quiet and secure. So
on the last class, I had a bunch of maps up there to show you where Laish was, just to demonstrate the fact that Dan started south in the area of Judah and ended up all the way, they were southeast and ended up in the northwest. So they traveled basically across the whole land. They didn't stay where their lot was. They just kept moving, right? Go ahead.
And they smote them with the edge of the sword.
And that Laish was at the border of Naphtali and Zidon, right? And they smote them with the edge of the sword. Go ahead.
And burnt the city with fire. And there was no deliverer because it was far from Zidon.
And you know what that's saying is like, it's not like over here in America. You go into somebody's stuff, they call in the cops. It's not going to happen. What they're saying is that there was nobody there to stop them because it was far from like major city. They just saw land they like and they took it, right? Nobody was there to rise up against them because it was far from, I guess, like their chief cities. Go ahead.
And they had no business with any man. And it was in the valley that lieth by Beth-rahab, and they built a city and dwelt therein.
Mm-hmm.
And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan, their father.
Right. So we see they took it and named it after Dan, their father. So that's basically the last known area that the tribe of Dan is at in the Bible, right? That they went from southeast to northwest, Zidon, right? Continue.
Who was born unto Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Howbeit, the name of the city was Laish at the first.
We could read verse 30.
And the children of Dan set up the graven image.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land.
Right. So we see that Dan's been off, right? They had a Manassite as their priest. Where's that in the law, right? They've been off, right? But we'll see that this is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say also the actual idea that even though they was going off, they still wanted religious instruction. So they put a priest on it. So that's lawful, but not the way they did it.
Not they're supposed to have a Levite. The scriptures say that Levi is supposed to have suburbs in all of our territories so that they can minister onto us, right? But Dan was doing their own thing. They wanted their own. Go ahead.
And I noticed that they just came out of Egypt. They didn't really get the land yet, and they already setting up idols.
And that's why
stealing idols
from other people, from in their land. And that's why I showed the time, the estimate, right? 1400. So we about 200 years after we left Egypt, right? And they said this is when King Solomon, right? Now I want to touch on something. Let's go to 1 second. We want to go into this building of the temple because it's going to show us something very important that we didn't realize. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. So before we read this, when we came out of Babylon, let's fast forward a little bit. When we came out of Babylon and we were building the temple, what did Nehemiah and Ezra say about having people help us build the temple? He wasn't with it, right?
Go outside.
He said, yeah, what have you to do with us or our God, right? Perfect. Let's go 1 Kings 5 and 1. Keep that in mind when we read this.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 5 and verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre.
King of Tyre, right? Now, I should have put maps up, but I didn't. I'll show it right here. And this, even though it's not on camera.
Take that down.
Oh,
I'll
slap.
stick it back.
Come.
Take it down.
I just want to see, right? Remember, Dan, look, you see this right here? It says Dan right here. Tyre is right here. Zidon is here. The area that Dan settled is basically on the border of Tyre and Zidon, right? Salakia. I know people online.
Right.
Let me see.
Take it down.
Yeah, it's just I didn't want to have to hold it. Maybe in the back here. So if you look on like any map of the land division, right, you will see along right above Asher's land, above Asher's territory, you'll see Tyre or Tyre, and above them is Zidon, right? And also to the west of that, you'll see Laish or Dan, as the scripture said that Dan took over that area, right? So let's go back to 1 Kings 5 and 1. Go ahead.
It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 5, verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father, for Hiram was ever a lover of David.
So I want us to understand something, right? The scriptures say that the Most High, David walked in all his ordinance, excepting what?
Uriah.
In the matter of Uriah the Hittite, right? Let's hold there. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6.
You can start at 1. Start at 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
When the Adawan, thy power Yahweh, shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it,
Mm-hmm.
and has cast out many nations before thee,
Mm-hmm.
and Hittites, and
Girgashites.
Gershites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater than and mightier than thou. And when the Adawan Yahweh shall deliver them before thee, they shall smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Now, we could wait right there. Now, if we go to 1 Kings 5 and 1, it says that Hiram was the king of Tyre, and he was a lover of David, right? Do you know what nation of people Tyre is? But specifically, which son of Ham? Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Because the point that I'm trying to show is this man, Hiram, could not possibly be a Hamite. He could not possibly be a Canaanite. Even though the scriptures say he's king of Tyre, notice it doesn't say he's from Tyre. It says he's king of the Tyre, right? But let's get Genesis chapter 10 and let's find it. Sometimes, you just go as the Spirit takes you. I didn't even write these down, but start at verse 15.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10 and verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And Canaan begat Zidon, his firstborn,
Mm-hmm.
and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite,
Mm-hmm.
and the Shinite.
Sinites. Go ahead, continue.
And
I'm
Average,
trying to find Tyre Salakia. Because he is in here. Go ahead.
and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward the families of the Canaanites spread abroad.
Okay. So we see Zidon under we see the Zidon under the sons of Canaan, right? I want to just find something real quick. Because Tyre and Zidon are Hamites. I'm just drawing a blank on where his sons are, where Tyre is mentioned in this. All right, but let's continue. Go back to 1 Kings 5 and 1. I'll find it and then
All right. You want me to start from the top?
start from
or-
the top again.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 5 and verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the
Mhm.
room of his father, for Hiram was ever a lover of David.
So we see he was a lover of David, right? Go ahead.
And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying,
Let's fast forward. Go to chapter 7, verse 13. So I just want to show Tyre, the king of Tyre. Go ahead. Verse chapter 7, verse 13.
this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 7, and verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali.
Of what?
Naphtali.
So the scriptures say, even though he's the king of, he's the widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali. Go ahead.
And his father was a man of Tyre,
His father was a man of Tyre, right? Go ahead.
a worker in brass.
Go ahead.
And he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning to work all works in brass.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his works.
Mm-hmm.
For he cast 2 pillars of brass of 18 cubits high apiece, and a line of 12 cubits did compass either.
So Tyre was the architect, or not the architect. The Most High is the architect. The Most High gave David. He gave David the blueprint in a vision, and David gave it to Solomon. But say he's the builder. You know, he's the foreman for the project.
And this is where Muslims get their beliefs from. I know you know that. They get their from Hiram.
Uh-huh.
His name's Hiram Abib.
Hiram Abib.
So this
Not
is,
just Muslim, the Freemasons.
Yeah, them too.
Khan. Go
Them
ahead.
too, because they talk about the master builder.
Khan.
Okay, all right, I don't know if you added that.
Go ahead. But so Solomon, the Most High gave David the vision for the plans. David, before he died, gave Solomon the plan. All of this is in First Kings. If you read First Kings, you will read all of this. And when Solomon went about to build in the temple, he hired Hiram, right? Let's get another example on Hiram. Let's go to, there's a second one on Second Chronicles chapter 2.
Second Chronicles in chapter.
So where did the First King say his mom was from?
Naphtali.
Naphtali. Okay, perfect.
From the top.
Verse 3. You can start from the top though.
This is the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Adawan Yahweh, and a house for his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon told out 70,010 men to bear burdens, and 80,000 to hew in the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and 3,600 to oversee them.
So let's modernize what he's saying. It said he told out 70,000 men. That's 7,000 men.
70.
No, 1,000. 70,000. That's not 70 men. That's 70,000.
Right.
70,000 men who Solomon had participate in the building of the temple. Go ahead.
And Solomon sent to Hiram, the king of Tyre.
So you see, one had them Hiram, the next Hiram, but it's the same person. This is what you would call a scribal error. Like people, because the Bible was written by us. There's no such thing as a printing press back then. This was literally by hand, right? So stuff happens, right? It's human error, right? But Hiram, the king of Tyre, go ahead.
Saying, as thou didst deal with David, my father,
Mm-hmm.
and didst sin him cedars to build him a house to dwell therein, even so deal with me.
Okay, so Hiram built David's house, and Solomon entreated him to deal with him the same way, right? All right, let's jump to because this is where it gets good. Verse 11.
Verse 11. Then Hiram, the king of Tyre, answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, because the Adawan has loved his people. He has made thee king over them.
Because so how would a heathen know this, right? Because God loved his people, he made you king over them. Go ahead.
Hiram said, moreover, blessed be Yahweh, power of Israel, that made heaven and earth.
Whoa, why is a non-Israelite praising the Most High? Blessed be Yahweh who made heaven and earth. Go ahead.
Who has given to David the king a wise son, and do with prudence and understanding that might build an house for the Adawan and an house for his kingdom.
All right, so Hiram believed in the Most High, right? Obviously, he's bigging up the Most High. He said, because the Most High loved his people, he made you king, and the Most High is the creator of heaven and earth, right? This sounds like somebody who believes in the Most High. Go ahead.
And now I have sent a cunning man, and do with understanding of Hiram, my father's, the son of a woman of the daughter of Dan.
Whoa. So we see this, that no matter how you slice it, Hiram has connection with Dan and Naphtali. What's the two up there north where Dan ended up moving up there, and the tribes that are right there, both different scriptures say that he's a descendant from these people. All right, go ahead.
And his father was a man of Tyre.
And go ahead. So being a man of Tyre does not mean you're a Hamite, right? It's saying that you live there, and I'll show something too, right? Because remember the initially what I said was the Most High said that David was a man after his own heart, and his only fault was in the matter of Uriah the Hittite, right? We're gonna touch on Uriah the Hittite too, because if David's only sin was in the matter of Uriah the Hittite, we read in Deuteronomy chapter 7, says you shall have no covenant with these Canaanites. But the scriptures say that David dealt with Hiram, right? A man of Tyre. Now let's go to Uriah the Hittite. I want to show something very interesting on Uriah the Hittite. You good for right now? I'll let you know when let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 11 and verse 6.
This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 11 and verse 6.
I want to say something, right? It might seem a little odd. Just because, like, for example, what tribe is Elijah from? Levi. But what does the scripture call Elijah? The Tishbite. What tribe is the Tishbite? It doesn't. There's no, right? There's no. What happens is the people started taking not the name of where they're from. So when we see ITE, we generally think a descendant of, but it can also mean someone from that land, right? So let's go 2 Samuel 11.
All right, it's the book of 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 6. And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did.
Mm-hmm.
and how the people did.
So David, remember, let's hold that right there. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 7 again. And I want you to we have to harmonize what's being said in the Bible, right? The Most High said David only sinned in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. But if Uriah really was a Hittite, let's see Deuteronomy 7, and I believe it's verse 2.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Adawan, thy power, Yahweh,
Salakia, start at 1. Start at 1. Mm-hmm.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When the Adawan, thy power, Yahweh, shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Gershites,
Hittites, the number one, first one he called the Hittite, the Girgashite. Go ahead.
and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites,
Mm-hmm.
and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Adawan, Yahweh, shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
It says we're supposed to make no covenant with them, nor show no mercy with them. No. So is that a commandment?
Right.
That is a commandment.
Straight up.
Straight up commandment. But the Most High also said, let's see, I want to get that verse. Let's get 1 Kings. Let's hold 2 Samuel also, but let's get 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 5.
Come. You said 1 Kings chapter 15
Mm-hmm.
and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's the book of 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 5. Because David did that which was right in the eyes of the Adawan, and turned not aside from anything that he commanded him.
Ooh, so David did what was right in the eyes of the Most High and turned not from anything that he commanded. Go ahead.
All the days of his life, save only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite.
So the only thing that David didn't do that was commanded of him was in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. And we know in this case he's talking about Bathsheba, about having the man killed and taking his wife. Go ahead.
And there was war between Rehoboam and
All
Jeroboam.
right, so let's go back to 1 Samuel, 2
Can I say
Samuel.
something real quick?
Go ahead.
Like when you read that, and you said the matter of Uriah the Hittite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he didn't do no. Remember, he sent him to war to die. That was he didn't go against the commandment with that. Like
Yeah.
you said, he went against it when he dealt with
His wife, yeah.
his wife, because what he did, it wasn't a commandment that you couldn't send a man to war.
Of course.
So
Of course.
so to just saying
the-
Uriah because of
His wife, yeah, because of how he dealt with Uriah so that he would die, so that he doesn't have to face everybody about dealing with a man's wife.
right, that's a lot.
Exactly. But let's go back to 2 Solomon 11, and you could go back to verse 7. 2 Samuel 11, verse 7.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11 and verse 7. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did,
Mm-hmm.
and how the people did, and
Mm-hmm.
how the war prospered.
Mm-hmm.
And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet.
Mm-hmm.
And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat for the king.
So let's take it at face value what it's saying. Uriah is a Hittite, right? David, he came back. David prepared a mess of meat, a feast for him, right? He gave him a whole bunch of stuff. He brought him to the castle, asked him how the war is going. Go ahead.
But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord,
Mm-hmm.
and went not down to his house.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, comest thou not far from,
Comest thou
Yeah.
not from thy journey?
Salakia, from thy journey, when then didst thou not go down unto thine house?
So David is amazed, like, man, didn't you just come from a long mission? Why you ain't go to your house? Right? Go ahead.
Yeah, but David trying to set him up.
You know, David got game. You know, like, go ahead. I could slide, like, hey, he went to his wife, you know, so if she pregnant, you know what happened, right? Go ahead.
And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in the tents.
It says the ark and Israel and Judah remain in tents. Go ahead.
And my lord Joab
And my lord Joab, because Joab was, we'll get to it. Go ahead.
and the servants of my lord
Mm-hmm.
are encamped in the open fields.
Mm-hmm.
Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife?
Mm-hmm.
As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing.
Right. So this is, we're operating as face value. This is one dedicated
That's what I was
Canaanite.
ready to say.
Right? This is one dedicated Canaanite because he's the ark, Israel, and Judah's there. He ain't worried about what the Canaanites are doing. He's worried about what's going on with us, right? And he said, by my soul, where is it? Where is it?
That's the end of 11.
Yeah, Khan. It says, as thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. He put an oath on it. Like,
Yeah.
I refuse to go to my wife. This is not the time to be dealing with my wife right now. We at war.
Now tell me the Most High not off the hook.
Khan,
Most High set that whole thing up.
Khan. Go ahead. Let's continue.
And David said unto Uriah,
One side note for a second. Anybody know what tribe Bathsheba is from?
No.
She is Judah. Bathsheba is Judah. Bathsheba is the daughter of
Oh,
Ahithophel.
right. And basically, she would have to be from the tribe of Judah because eventually Yahushua came through that line
Khan.
on both sides of the
Khan.
royal family.
So
Right. That's my bad.
let's hold it right there and let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 7 again, because we have to understand David did not go against anything the Most High commanded. Let's continue reading. Start at verse 3 in Deuteronomy chapter 7.
the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
So how are we giving Uriah a Judite woman? That is against the law. Right? Because the law says the first name in that list of nations is Hittite. And it says you can't make marriages with them. But Uriah, but Bathsheba, who is a Judite woman, is married to a Hittite. That is against the law. Right? But the scriptures say David didn't break no law against him, except that matter of Uriah the Hittite. Adultery, except the matter of adultery. So now let's go back to first, where we at? Second Solomon. 2 Samuel, Salakia.
All right.
Where are we at? 11? Did we pass 11 yet? No. Yeah, that was 11.
Yeah.
All right. So now I want to show something also to kind of, I'll spell it out. My position is Uriah couldn't have been a Hittite. Uriah was called a Hittite because he lived in the area of that, right? Let's go, because 1 Kings chapter, let's see. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 8.
2 Samuel chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
But Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul.
Wait, Salakia, give me 1 second.
Where we at?
So this is 2 Samuel. Salakia, I read that bad. 2 Samuel 23, verse 8. Salakia. 2 Samuel 23. I want to show. So this is the listing of David's mighty men. We know David had his mighty men, right? Just to put some respect on Uriah the Hittite's name. This was not some soldier, just some castaway person, right? This was not just some little run-of-the-mill person, right? 2 Samuel 23, verse 8.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 23, and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
These be the names of the mighty men whom David had.
Mm-hmm.
The Tishmonite,
Tachmonite. Mhm.
Slakia, that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. And the same was
What tribe is a Tachmonite? It doesn't matter. There's no tribe named Tachmonite. This is showing also that people are being named after where they're from, where they live.
Like American.
Yeah, exactly. Even where in the land, like what importance is it to be like Micah Allah, the Benjamite, if we in the land and we got our own leadership, our own rulership? Now it's like Micah Allah, a city in Benjamin, the Gabonite. Now, right? Because you're living in Benjamin's territory, but now what part of Benjamin you from? We know you're Benjamin, so Micah Allah, the Gabonite. Go ahead.
Like Paul, the
Toss it. Exactly, right? It just because it says that doesn't mean that it's your tribe. Go ahead.
the same was Adonno and Esnite.
The Esnite. What tribe is Esnite? This is talking about cities where they're from. Go ahead.
He lifted up his spear against 800 whom he slew at one time.
Now, now let's get to the point. Verse 39.
All right. Verse 39. Uriah the Hittite, 37 in all.
So Uriah's name is listed among David's mighty men. David has 37 mighty men, and Uriah's name is listed amongst them. Right? So we can't just assume that, right? Just because, and only reason I even went on this tangent is about Hiram. The scriptures mention that he's a man, the king of Tyre, and he's a man of Tyre. We can't just assume because it says that means that they're Tyre. Right? He lived among there. But by that time, Dan had already took property from Zidon. To get to Zidon, you have to pass Tyre. Right? So okay, everything good over there? All right, so now let's continue with this, right? So the point that all of this was showing is, we're going to rewind again. Approximately estimated about 1447 BC, we left Egypt. Around 1200, the very last one is when we left Egypt, right? Around 1200 is when the Iron Age started, right? You could go back to the other one, right? Like the middle one, right after the stone. Nope, the next one. It says the Iron Age up. Around 1200 BC, the Iron Age started, right? Mm-hmm. So this is 200 years. So now I want us to go to another, let's see. Do I want to deal with the scriptures? Let's go back to, there's one of these notes I want us to bring up. Can you bring up the one that says the Dorian?
The Dorian.
Yes. First word is Dorian. Not that. I know I sent it.
This one.
Yep, that one. All right. So now, remember, let's before you can hide that for right now. Let's go back to the Apocrypha. We want to get First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 20. We're gonna kind of have to rehash. So we showed how Dan ended up over there, and now in the first lesson, I said that let's just read it. First Maccabees 12 and 20.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Arius, king of the Lacedaemonians,
The Lacedaemonians.
to Onius.
So if we read earlier, we'll see that after we had a temporary victory over the Greeks, we sent out letters to different people. We sent out, mind you, also one interesting thing is Antiochus Epiphanes, right? He was a Greek, right? We all agree on that, right? Are the Spartans Greek? They are Greek in name, exactly, but not in nationality. We have to understand the difference, right? It's like we're Israel, but we're Americans. We're from different places, right? We're citizenship in one, but nationality is something completely different, right? So earlier in First Maccabees 12, we see that we sent out, after we won or had a brief victory, we sent out letters to the Spartans, to the Greeks, and to different people, right? And this is the letter back from the Spartans, right? From the Lacedaemonians, right? I mentioned also in the last one, we have to understand that Greece is what you call city-states back then. It wasn't unified. In fact, the reason Alexander the Great came into power was because he was one of the first people to unify all the city-states of Greece to one, because it's like they have different branches, different groups, because Greece is actually just a cluster of islands, right? And it's a bunch of different people living, right? So he unified them together under his banner, and they became a great army. But remember, after he died, what happened? He split the kingdom, right? So that unity that he had before, after he died, it went right back away, right? Because they don't have a unified leader. And that's what the 5 generals were really, we know about 4, but there's actually a 5th one who was basically, he was easily captured by Ptolemy, right? And they were basically fighting over power. Who's going to be the head guy after Alexander died? So that little unity that they had ended right away, right? It didn't really last long because I believe Alexander died in his 30s. He was not an old man at all. Like, he died very young. His rulership was very short.
12 years.
12 years, exactly, right? But what a time for him, because he expanded the Greek territory. Great, right? So let's continue. 12 and 20, I think.
21.
21, come.
It was found in writing that the Macedonians.
Start at 20 again.
Khan. It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 12, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Arius, the king of the Lacedaemonians, to Onias, the high priest, greeting. It is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren.
That the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, right? Go ahead.
And that they are of the stock of Abraham.
And that they are of the stock of Abraham, right? So we could, see, one second. Go ahead.
Now, therefore, since this is to come to our knowledge, ye shall do well to write unto us of your prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
We do write back again to you.
So in the last class, when we read this, I said it's to my understanding that these Lacedaemonians are the tribe of Dan, right? The prophecy said that they stayed in ships, and we know Greece is a bunch of islands, right? Now you can bring up that Dorian one. Now, for us to understand what's going on, how did that tribe of Dan become Lacedaemonians? We have to understand. Can you see it?
I can't see
You
that.
can't see it. Can you read it, Yarapa? This is very important too to understand. So before you start, the Greek history, we all know that the islands of Greece was Japhetic, right? The Japhetic people. This is today's so-called Asians, Peloponnesian, Polynesian, Salakia, Polynesian, Samoans, Tongans, right? These are the same people. In fact, you can see that there's like the Tongans, the Samoans, they're still of a darker complexion, right? So those people lived in their land. And go ahead, you can start.
All right. It says the Dorians were a major Greek ethno-linguistic group traditionally believed to have migrated into the Peloponnese around 1100 BCE.
Around 1100 BCE, right? Remember what I said earlier, right? BCE counts downwards because everything in their system goes resetted at the birth of Christ, right? That's why we got BC, before Christ, AD, Anno Domini, which means year of the Lord, right? So they counted down. So we left in 1447 estimated. The Iron Age started at about 1200. And can you read that part again? When did the Peloponnese War?
Well, it says that traditionally believed to have migrated into the Peloponnese around 1100 BCE.
1100, right? So shortly after King Solomon's reign. King Solomon's reign started at about 1240 something, right? That's what their estimate. But about 100 years after that, they believed that these people migrated into the Peloponnese. The Peloponnese was a group of Greek islands, cluster of islands together, and they had war with them. Go ahead.
Displacing Mycenaean populations.
And they displaced the people that were there. Right? Go ahead.
During the Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE,
go ahead.
Spartan-led forces who identified as Dorian clashed with the Ionian-affiliated Athenian Empire.
So, wait, 400 BCE, the Spartans who identified as the Dorians, the same people, the Spartans identified as the same people that came into the Peloponnesian island and displaced the people, right? Go ahead, continue.
Clash with the Ionian-affiliated Athenian Empire, framing the conflict partly along ethnic lines.
Okay.
Key aspects of the Dorian-Peloponnesian War. The myth/theory. The, quote, Dorian invasion refers to a tradition where Dorians from northern Greece invaded the Peloponnese, often associated with the return of the Heraclidae, descendants of Heracles.
Descendant of Heracles. Remember, go ahead. I'm gonna come back to that.
While formerly viewed as a violent conquest, it is now considered more complex, gradual migration or societal shift.
Go ahead, the last part.
Sparta as a Dorian power. Spartans, Lacedaemonians, claim direct descent from these Doric settlers.
So wait. Let's understand what's going on here. Because remember I said all Lacedaemonians are Spartans, but all Spartans aren't Lacedaemonians. those Lacedaemonians claim to be the descendants of the Doric people. But those same Lacedaemonians in the Apocrypha claim that we're brethren to the Jews. So what is that? What is history trying to tell us? That the tribe of Dan,
It might be there.
and also a key part is also, it says the Heraclidi, the people of Heraclidi, the people of Hercules. Now, I'll sidebar for a second. One thing I've always found interesting was the similarities between Hercules and Samson. It's ridiculous the amount of similarities
Especially
they
the
have.
strength,
The strength, the
labors.
the killing with the jaw of an ass. That's in Samson's story, in Hercules' story also, right? The fight in the lion. That's in Samson's story also, right? Now, who's the greatest Danite that we know of in the scripture? Samson, right? So it's only natural for these people to carry that tradition with them. The story might sound a little bit different, but the base is the same, right? Over time. And so these same people who claim to be descendants of the Dorian settlers also claim that the Jews and them are brethren, right? Go ahead.
I just want to add, because it's good you brought up the Dorians, right?
Mhm.
And the Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
The Dorians were actually, like you said, more than likely Danites. But the reason they call themselves Spartans is because of Leonidas.
Okay.
Leonidas, the king that you've seen in
Come.
300. His wife's name was Sparta.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why they call them Spartans, because of his wife.
But again, we have to, like I said, the Lacedaemonians, Sparta, like you said, Leonidas, under his banner, everybody that lived there were Spartans under his rule. But the Lacedaemonians kept themselves distinct from that. Like, yeah, we're Spartans, but we're Lacedaemonians. We know that we are not you. You understand that? All Lacedaemonians are Spartans, but all Spartans are not Lacedaemonians. We have to understand that. So the children of Dan knows that that's not us, right? They write back, yeah, the king of the Lacedaemonians say that we're from the same stock, right? So let me go back to my note. You can take that off, right? So that was an interesting part. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And I want to show something too about, because a lot of this lesson has to do with Greek history. A lot of it has to do with Greek history, and we understand. In fact, I seen this is a spirit. The Most High. The brother from Ram Gadal, Panah, he literally just made a video, I believe last week, where he's talking about Israelite influence on Greece. Like, I'll give you an example. The Epicureans. In the book of Acts, Paul writes about Epicureans and one second. And when the scriptures say that Jacob is the former of all things, there's no lie. There's no lie told there. Because the Stoics and Epicureans, that's what he's talking about. Let me get it. I'll get it. We're gonna go do a side 1 second. All right, let's get whole Maccabees. You can put that aside. Let's get Acts chapter 17, verse 18. And also why the book of the Apocrypha is so important. Because we have no clue. Like, how many years did they estimate from Malachi until Yahushua? About 400 years. Was Israel just sitting on our hands during those 400 years? Not at all. Not busybody Israel. We are going to get into some stuff. And and we got into some stuff, you know. Let's get on Acts 17:18 real quick.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 18. Then certain philosophers of the
Epicureans
and the
Stoics
encountered him, and some said, "What will this babbler
wait.
say?"
Let's start at 16 just to get the context of what's going on, where this is, and why this is important.
Says 16.
Mm-hmm.
Con. The book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 16. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry.
So Paul waiting for Barnabas and Silas, I believe it is, and Timothy. Go ahead. So he's waiting for them in Athens, and he see in Athens the whole city's into idolatry. Now, why would Paul care that the city's in idolatry?
Because they were Israel.
Khan, exactly. Exactly. Go ahead.
Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and the Stoics encountered him,
Mm-hmm.
and said, "What will this babbler say?"
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just a quick. The difference between the Stoics and Epicureans. The Epicureans believed that there's no afterlife. The Epicureans believe that there's no afterlife. When you die, just live it up. Basically, that's their whole theory. Live your life, because when you die, that's it. The Stoics believed more in the sense of, I don't want to say karma, but they believe in something similar to us. In fact, they say that the Epicureans influence the Sadducees, that the Epicureans, their belief system invaded the Sadducees' belief system, because the Sadducees don't believe in the regeneration. They don't believe in the reincarnation. And the Stoics is more along the lines of the Pharisees. The Pharisees believed everything right. The problem was that the Pharisees were hypocrites. That was the problem with the Pharisees. The Pharisees believed in the law, the commandments, the prophets, everything. They believed in the rebirth, in the regeneration. They believed in all of it, right? So they based those school of thoughts were basically what he was seeing in Athens was basically the same thing that was going on in Israel. With just, even to this day, that same argument lingers to this day. Some people don't believe in the regeneration. Some people, you understand, it's the same thing. But continue. You found it? Go ahead, bring it up.
It says, I'm trying to bring up one. Give me a second.
All right, the scriptures say that, we're not supposed to be ignorant of anything great or small, right? And so, this isn't my information. I found this out from the brother watching his class recently, and I'm like, it's very good to know who these Epicureans and Stoics are. But go ahead.
It says, to understand the differences between Epicureanism and Stoicism, consider these key points. Philosophical focus. Epicureanism emphasizes the pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain, while Stoicism advocates for virtue and self-control. Nature of happiness. Epicureans believe happiness comes from simple pleasures and friendships. Stoics find happiness in living in accordance with nature and reason. View on emotions. Epicureans embrace emotions as part of life. Stoics strive to manage and minimize emotional disturbances. Attitude towards fate, and I think this is what you was trying to get to. Epicureans accept fate but focus on maximizing enjoyment. Stoics accept fate as part of a rational universe and emphasize resilience.
Con. Right? So, like the how should I say, endure, it's more in line with stoicism, right? Not saying that it's 100% right, because we have to understand that we are at the root of this. Epicureans, the founder of these things, you can trace back to Hellenized Jews, literally, right? And that's where the base of it is, that they the basis of the foundation of their viewpoint is based on our understanding of scripture. One is, hey, like the scriptures say in, believe it's Ecclesiastes, that to live, enjoy your life, but know that in everything, what it says about enjoy your life when you're young, but know that all things will be brought into question, right? So Epicureans kind of hold on to that, like enjoy your life, live your life, seek pleasure. You only live once, Khan. While the Stoics, right? But all of this is at the base of it is us. We are the philosophers. I don't want to go off on a tangent, man, but the so-called white men didn't invent nothing.
No.
Nothing at all. Even Greek philosophy that they harp up about, they learned from us, because those are the two major school of thought in philosophy. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the major one that they go is Socrates.
Socrates, Khan.
Socrates was a brother all day.
Khan, exactly. So let's continue with that. Let's finish up that verse and then we go back home.
Want me to stop from top of 18?
Which one did we do?
17 and 18?
17, Khan.
Start from 17?
17, yeah.
All right, Con. This is the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 17. Therefore dispute he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him. The certain philosophers of the Epicureans and the Stoics encountered him and some said, what will this babbler say? Others some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Yahushua and the resurrection.
Mm-hmm. See, so some of them don't believe in the resurrection. They're like, what strange God you setting up before us, right? But so we have, now let's go back to First Maccabees 1:1. Because to understand Greek, we have to understand, like we just read the Apocrypha and think, oh, well, you know, they took over us. But the scriptures say that Jacob and Esau, one is going to be stronger than the other, right? Now they think, you know, I remember I had an argument with somebody before about hip hop. We was arguing about culture. I said hip hop is Black culture. They said hip hop is American culture. And it's not wrong either way, right? Because why? Because Black people, whatever culture we put forth is going to be the dominant culture. You understand? So when we see Greek philosophy and all of that, we see in the Maccabees that we became subject to the Greeks, but we have to understand that we wasn't just some helpless people also. The strength and force of our spirit dominates. You understand? Like, yeah, we subject now to the Greeks, but guess what? The Greeks are going to start trying to emulate us. We see it to this day. Everybody, America is a quote unquote Christian nation. Every president swearing on our book. You understand? Like the force of our spirit is just stronger than theirs, you know? Right? So let's go on First Maccabees 1:1.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, and the Macedonian who came out of the land of Chittim, and smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead. The first over Greece.
The first over Greece, right? He unified Greece. It says he was Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim. It didn't say that he's a Chittimite. It said he came out of the land of Chittim. Understand that that's location, not descendancy. Right? Go ahead.
And made many wars,
Mhm.
and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
Mhm.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
So see, like when people say about critique the Bible, right? Like the Bible just tells the truth.
Mhm.
But they have to understand it that it's from not from a universal perspective, it's from an Israelite perspective. We are the writers of the Bible. Even in books like this where it's just writing history. We're telling you, hey, we give Alexander his props. Like Alexander ruled many nations over kings and everything like that, right? So we all know Alex, and we gave his background. He's a Macedonian. He came out the land of Chittim, right? Now, if you look in the Greek history, all of this is mentioned. I believe the same Doric, that same one I had about the Dorian invasion, it also mentioned that during their wars about the Spartans and all these different people that were fighting for position during that war, right? Let's continue though.
And after these things, he fell sick
Mm-hmm.
and perceived that he should die.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexander reigned 12 years.
That's very good memory, LeBron, because I couldn't remember the exact number, but 12 years. That's it. So obviously he had more before when he rose to power, because he was killing all the Greek. Oh, you the head of this city state? Come under me or die. You understand? So, but once he unified them, 12 years is all it takes for him to go all the way into Egypt, into the Levant, even parts of some of like Babylon, right? Even as far as Babylon. Go ahead.
And then died.
Mm-hmm.
And his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years.
Mm-hmm.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right. So it mentions about his friends. He became rulers, and they put crowns on their head, and that's where we get the 4 ruling kingdoms from Greece, right? But now I want to go into something to let's go into this Agagite. Let's go to staying in the Apocrypha, editions of Esther, chapter 7 and verse 10. Yes, I believe it's page 55.
So
You got it?
yeah. So start from where?
I thought it says chapter 7, verse 10. Give me 1 second. Because it doesn't. Okay, I get it. Because it doesn't say it. I was reading it, doing it out of, it's a little bit different. Give me 1 second. Where it says,
Differently in your Apocrypha?
yeah, it's the numbering of the chapters are slightly different. Part because it actually just has where it's supposed to continue in the book of Esther.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. This is And I know this, I should have looked it up because my one is always. Which does yours start at chapter 10, part of 10 chapter?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
part of 10.
Okay, let's.
According to the size of your apocrypha.
Yeah.
Yes, the verse of 10. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Maybe somebody can.
What does it say that you're looking for?
I'm looking for Agag the Macedonian. Amen the Macedonian is verse 10. No, let me just look into verse. It's talking about Amen.
Would you maybe 12 and 6?
Okay. Yes, it might be. Because it's, yep, it's the very last chapter in the book.
16. I got 16:10. Hold on.
16.
Amen.
Yep, 16 and 10. I don't know why the Bible app I use says chapter 7, but I guess it doesn't. It just has it as its own book instead of continuation of what's his name. So you can start at 16 verse 10.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 16 and verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
For Ammon, a Macedonian,
Macedonian.
Macedonian, the son of
Amadatha.
Amathatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood,
Mm-hmm.
and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us.
Mm-hmm. So he's saying Aman is a Macedonian, right? Haman. This Aman is Haman from the story of Esther, right? Go ahead.
Had so far forth obtained the favor that we show toward every nation, as that he was called our father,
Mm-hmm.
and was continually honored of all men, as the next person unto the king.
So he was so favored in the Persian Empire that he was next to the king, like he had a high position. Go ahead.
But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life,
Mm-hmm.
having by manifold and
And it's
cunning,
in the spirit too, because this coming week is Purim, so we go ahead.
having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction as well of Mardochus.
Maridochus. You know who that is? That is what's Esther's uncle name? Mordecai. Exactly. So the thing is with the Apocrypha is written in Greek and Latin. So a lot of times you'll see names slightly different because of the pen it was written in. Go ahead.
Who saved our life
Mm-hmm.
and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther,
The scripture called Esther blameless. All praises, right? Go ahead.
partaker of our kingdom with their whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians.
So you see that? He planned on usurping authority from the Persians, right? The Greeks, they planned it. It didn't come from Haman, but it came a couple hundred years later under Alexander, right? Yeah, exactly. He was a plant, like LeBron said. He was there to take the kingdom, and us Israelites, a southern kingdom, we was in the way. Mordecai was in the way, and he had to get rid of them. Go ahead.
But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wrath has delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by most just laws.
It says that the Jews are not evildoers, but we live by the most just laws. Go ahead.
And that day they be children of the Most High and Most Mighty living power Yahweh.
So who's the children of God? We are, right? It says that the Jews, we are the children of the living God, right? So when people, who's the children of God? Everybody? Nah, they didn't say everybody. The Jews are the children of God. Go ahead.
Who hath ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner.
All right. So let's go to regular Esther chapter 3 and verse 1. Want to go into this just Greek history, because we understand that while this isn't wholly on the tribe of Dan, we know that when the scriptures say in Deuteronomy that they leapt from where? From Lashem, right? That this is where they ended up going. First stop. So after the Iron Age period, right? Or rather during the Iron Age period, before it went from bronze to iron, what ended that was the rise of the sea people, they call them, when it no longer became about just warfare, it became about trades. Like they've always been trades, but like trading between nations. In fact, it's one of the main reasons Israel, they say, is always under attack throughout history, is that we lived in that fertile area in between Babylon and Egypt. So before people were able to travel in mass by sea, they had to travel by land. So we always had people coming through our land, and people want that spot, you know? But with the rise of the sea people, it changed the way that they did things. Now the rise of navies and stuff like that, and people started trading that way, right? But I say all that to say, the tribe of Dan also were key in that, traders, right? In fact, it even says it in the scriptures with King Solomon when he was building the temple, that they went and they got gold from Ophir by ships. Where is it? Ophir. I don't want to just get too much, right? Just too much. But Ophir is somewhere along Saudi Arabia area. And the reason we know this is because of the Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10 mentions, like, so when the Ethiopians, right? And Ethiopians say, Queen of Sheba was an Ethiopian, and Solomon went down and they had a kid, and that's garbage. Because Sheba just means south. But let's hold where we're at. Let's just get Genesis chapter 10. I want to show you something in Genesis chapter 10. Because the places. Go ahead.
And Sheba was also married.
Wow.
She was married.
Okay. So the thing is that it mentions where they got the gold from, and the areas that they got the gold from are all together in Genesis chapter 10. You see it. The queen of the south. That's literally all Sheba means, is south. You can start at Genesis chapter 10 and verse 25. Let's see if these are Hamitic people, because Ethiopians are Hamites, right? We all know this, right? Let's see Genesis chapter 10, verse 25.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10 and verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg,
Mm-hmm.
for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother name was Joktan.
Mm-hmm.
And Joktan begot Alamadad and Sheleph and Hazarmaveth and Jerah.
Okay. Hazar Maveth and Jerah. Go ahead.
and Hadorma,
I know you said the names are tough for you, but
Yeah.
I gotta do it to you. Go ahead.
and Uzel,
hmm
and Dikla,
Go ahead.
and Obal, and Abim,
Abimael.
and Sheba, and Ophir, and
Wait, let's see. And Obal and Abimael and Sheba. This is where the queen of Sheba is from. This is a descendant of Eber. Sheba, right? Let's continue. Go ahead.
and Ophir,
Mm-hmm.
and Havilah,
Havilah.
and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan.
Right. So these are Shemite peoples, descendants of Eber. So when it says that in the building of the temple that they went down for the goal of Ophir, we can only assume, because the land of Shem is right there in so-called Asia, right? We can only assume. We can't say that, because I hear like some people say that's Peru, and you hear a lot of different things online. But it said that, listen, give me 1 second. It said that he sent them by ships to, let's get 1 Kings chapter 9 verse 27. So at 26.
9 and 26.
Yes.
Yahweh,
Come.
even in Genesis chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
it tells you about that land.
Khan. It's it says, which one? You read it?
Genesis chapter 2 and 11.
Get that whole where you're at and get Genesis 2 and 11. Khan, the land of Havilah. Exactly. And that's where the garden, this is the garden, right? We know, the funny thing is that the Most High's promise to Abraham is all of our land, right? So we know it can't be nowhere else from the Nile to the Euphrates. That's our land, right? And everywhere in between. So that means that these places have to be within our land. Why? Because it's the inheritance of Shem. The Most High literally said, we are going to take the whole land of Shem from the Nile to the Euphrates, right? Bring it up. Genesis 2 and 11.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 11. The name of the first is Pison.
Start at 10.
Khan. Verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the first is Pison.
Mm-hmm.
That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold.
Where there is gold, right? Now let's go to that 1 Kings, and we'll show you where Solomon sent to get the gold to build the temple. 1 Kings 9 and 26.
It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships.
Mm-hmm. So again, remember I told you after the Iron Age, what came? The time of the Sea People. But we was already doing that before the age of the Sea People. King Solomon made a navy. So we was already doing the ships before them. Dan stayed on ships, right? Go ahead.
Ezion Gabar, which is beside Elah on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Eden.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
and
continue.
Hiram set in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir.
To Ophir, right? Go ahead.
And fetched from thence gold.
So we know that this has got to be in our land, in Shem's and area Shem, not Ham, not Africa, right? That's where he got the gold from. Some people, like, you would be surprised where people say Ophir is. Like, that's a whole you know, but the Bible is telling you where it is. You know, we just have to look and find it, right? So let's go back to this. We was at Haman. Let's go to Esther chapter 3. Esther chapter 3, verse 1. Because I just want to show you something prophetic too when we wrap this, right?
You want me to-
Yeah, you can start out. Esther 3 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 1. After these things, the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
The Agagite, we remember earlier, it says he's a Macedonian. An Agagite is a Macedonian. Go ahead.
And advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Mm-hmm.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him.
Mm-hmm.
The Mordecai Slakia bowed not, nor did him revere.
Go ahead.
reverence.
But
king-
Mordecai nor did him reverence. Go ahead.
Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Mm-hmm.
Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
So they told Mordecai would not bow nor give Haman reverence. They told on him, and they also told Mordecai is a Jew. Go ahead.
And when Haman saw that
Also,
Mordecai,
side note, you know that verse that we just read is the first place in the Bible you see the word Jew. The very first person in the Bible that's called a Jew isn't even a Jew. He's a Benjamite. Go ahead. But it just goes to show how they view this. You from the land, you're a Jew, right? Go ahead.
and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then he was Haman full of wrath.
Then Haman was full of wrath. Go ahead.
And he thought scorn to lie hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom, as Ahasuerus.
Of Ahasuerus. This is
Ahasuerus,
Artaxerxes, right? Go ahead.
even the people of Mordecai.
Right? So you see this? He was mad with Mordecai, but then when they told him about the rest of Mordecai's people, he wanted to destroy the whole people. This is spiritual, very spiritual. They use Mordecai and Haman, right? Let's continue with this. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 7. We're winding down, but this is such an interesting thing. Such an interesting thing. First Samuel chapter 15, verse 7. Remember, Haman is a what? He's a Macedonian, but specifically what lineage of? He's an Edomite. He's an Agagite. Remember that word, Agagite. He's the son of, let's see it. Go ahead. 1 Samuel.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15 and verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites,
He took
alive.
Agag, the king of the Amalekites,
So specifically a so-called Jew.
specifically a so-called Jew. And I want to show you why this is so good in the spirit, man. Go ahead, continue.
And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
And isn't it funny, right? If you read about Mordecai's lineage, Mordecai is a son of, he's a Benjamite, specifically a son of Tish. Saul is also a son of Tish, right?
So get back.
In the spirit, you see this? You see the Most High, how he works is like, your forefather messed up, so you're gonna have to set things right. Right? Continue.
But Saul and the people spared Agag
But Saul spared them. Go ahead.
and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fattlings and the lambs and all that was good,
Mm-hmm.
and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
So Saul thought he could make some money. You know, he could keep them, but in that he disobeyed the voice of the Most High. Right. So now let's get Numbers chapter 24, verse 1, and I want to.
Let me say something real quick.
Uh-huh.
And from Saul not doing what the Most High commanded about killing Agag, Esau's been in our side for thousands of years.
But it begs the question, right? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Because let's just read it. Numbers 24, verse 1. Because it's very interesting. Like when you read some of these things, it's like, wait, Saul kind of had no choice. He had a choice, but the Most High's word, what he said in Isaiah 45, declaring the end from the beginning, and all my works must stand. Yep. Right? Go ahead. Numbers 24, verse 1.
This is Numbers chapter 24 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when Balaam saw that it pleased
That it pleased.
the Adawan to bless Israel, he went not as at other times to seek for enchantments,
Mm-hmm.
but he set his face toward the wilderness.
So we all know the story. Balaam was supposed to, he was hired by the 5 kings to curse Israel, but he didn't. He blessed them 3 times. Go ahead.
And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents according to their tribes. And the spirit of Yahweh came upon him.
Mm-hmm.
And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said. He has said, which heard the words of Yahweh, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, but having his eyes open.
So Balaam, the Most High put a vision on Balaam. He went into a trance, but his eyes were open. What did he see?
How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacle, O Israel.
Mm-hmm.
As the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the riverside, as the trees of aloes,
Mm-hmm.
which the Adawan has planted, and as cedar trees besides the water.
Mm-hmm.
He shall pour the water out of his buckets,
Mm-hmm.
and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted.
Now, what word sticks out there? Agag, right? Now, I have a blue letter one up there. Can you bring it up? I want to see what this word means. What does that word Agag mean? You might have to read it. Because this is, there's no book that can ever touch the Bible. Because first off, right, you have to understand, this prophecy that Balaam had was while we was in the wilderness, before we got into the land, before King Saul ever lived, before the man named Agag lived, right? But he called the name specifically, and he says that Israel's king will be above Agag. Let's see what Agag means.
It says Agag, H90, right? Transliteration Agag, pronunciation Agag, part of speech, proper masculine noun, root word, etymology, of uncertain derivation, compare with Aga, I guess,
Mhm.
Aga, H89, outline of biblical usage, Agag, I will overtop.
I will overtop. Go ahead.
Or A, king of Amalek, spared by Saul but slain by Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? KJV translation count 8 times.
So it means Agag means I will overtop, right? Now I want to show you just line up biblical prophecy. That is such an interesting meaning for the word Agag. Agag, I will overtop. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. So we can see who this person is, right? That's a spirit that the Most High put on Agag, the king of the Amalekites, the man that Saul was supposed to kill, but he didn't, the man whose descendant wanted to kill the whole nation of Israel, the man who became the Macedonian, the first of the Macedonian, who descendant became Philip the Macedonian, whose descendant became Alexander the Macedonian, who ruled the world, right? 2 Thessalonians, when it all starts stacking up. Let's see it now. 2 Thessalonians 2:1.
This is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adawan Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him,
Mm-hmm.
that ye be not soon shaken in mind,
Mm-hmm.
or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word,
Mm-hmm.
nor by the letter as from us, as that the day of a Mashiach is at hand.
Mm-hmm.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for
Mhm.
that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed,
Mm-hmm.
the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called.
He opposes all and exalted himself above all, overtop, right? He's exalting himself above it. He's going overtop. But in Numbers 24, it says Jacob's king will be above Agag. So they're over the top, and we're going to be over the top. Go ahead.
Exalted himself above all that is called God,
Mm-hmm.
or that is worship, so that he, as God, smitten in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Right? So we know who this son of perdition is, right? The so-called white man, the so-called Jewish man, right? Who sit in the temple of God, who sit in God's land and exalt himself above all that is called by God's name, right? And this is all prophetic, right? From the time of Balaam, from the time we was in the wilderness, the Most High prophesied this, right? Everything, and that's why I say, which came first? The chicken or the egg, right? Was because if Saul had obeyed, would Agag had gotten the time to say that he's sitting above, right? And that's how we know, right? And with that, I'm gonna end the class. I wish I could have went more into to it, but a lot of it is like, you know, we know that, like, for example, the Sea people, we know that these were black people.
Right.
I'll say it like that, right? Because SEA, yes, the rise of the Sea people. You guys could look that, actually, you could take that down and just look it up. Like, look up YouTube videos, and they will tell you that it's similar to like the Moors, that it's a conglomeration of different people from different areas. Go ahead.
Now you could say, because like you say, of the sea, right?
Mm-hmm.
The word Vikings means king
Of the sea, Khan.
and you know, it came out prolific back then, but the Russians were Kiev Rus. Kiev Rus was a black man from the
Khan.
tribe of Dan,
Khan.
basically, and he was the beginning of the Vikings
And
being named.
you have to
740
you have to understand, right? Europe,
Right.
Europe specifically, like when we look at the Table of Nations, right? When the Most High divided these lands, he gave Ham his area, he gave Japhet the islands, and he gave Shem, so-called Middle East, right? And then they start populating these other areas, right? Dan went around conquering these people in all of these different areas. So when you see the Denmark, when you see there's another one that but a lot of these areas, Dan just went along conquering them, just conquering. The majority of what we call Europe were places that Dan, they didn't stay. That's the thing that we have to understand is they didn't necessarily stay. You might have a pocket of them stay, but they just kept it moving, right? And as we know, the scriptures say Judah and Israel is together, that they were no, not sand of the sea, that we were oppressed together, right? So that means, long story short, for the prophecy to be fulfilled, Dan has to be here. Dan 100% has to be here. We don't know exactly what. A lot of this is just me. This is just from my own research. This isn't necessarily something that I would tell people to harp on to. But a lot of the so-called darker Native Americans and stuff like that, a lot of them had Dan in there too, right? A lot of, we got obviously Gad, Simeon, that's over here in Americas, right? But Dan also. Why? Because like if you let Esau tell it, he will tell you that there's been ships coming to America long before slavery came. And so that's why we believe that Dan had scatterings over here also, right? But I believe that they're all over the place too, but they have to be here in America also. With that, I'll yield. Kwame Ashala. Oh, you got
Yeah,
something?
remember, even like what they call the barbarians now.
Mm-hmm.
Barbarians were Dan.
Khan.
They call them barbarians because they had beards.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan still kept his beard.
Khan.
All of those brothers coming through came through Dan.
Exactly. Dan was, I'd say they were the first to hit these areas and not colonize it, more like just take over. Take over. Because they wasn't really colonizing. You know, what they were doing was they was taking over, taking their resources, what they want, and going about their business.
And leaving strongholds.
And leaving strongholds. Like, just leave their name there.
Yeah. And not to get,
What's
not to
it?
get off course.
Gabar?
Go ahead, sorry.
And when you look up the history from Christopher Columbus, he followed the direction of Ezra to come here.
Yeah, Khan.
He followed the map that the Israelites had made. So they were already coming here.
Of course, Khan. We've been coming here, yeah.
He took our stuff together.
Exactly, Khan. He brought Hebrew scholars to come with him. So, yep. With that, I say,
One more bite. You know, the land Denmark. That's Dan's mark.
Where is
Oh, you did say
Khan? There was one more,
Swede.
Scandinavia.
Yeah, and the Swedes.
Scandinavia, right? Sweden, right? These are all, the scriptures say Dan leaves his mark wherever he goes. That's what it says in Genesis 49, that he's like a viper in the trail. He's a snake in the path. The snake path. Where the snake goes, he leaves his mark behind. That's what the tribe of Dan does, right? With that,
God came over here a long time ago.
of course,
India.
Khan. They've been here. Well, the whole 10 tribes, right? In fact, there was a discoverer. I can't recall exactly which one, and he came to, I believe it's Simeon, because he came down to the Florida areas, and he sat and they asked him, about who are these people, and he said that if you continue going south, you'll see the children of Joseph. Right? So they, yeah,
That's in Lost Tribe and Promise.
Khan, right? So they knew what's out from Florida, Puerto Rico, Cuba, right? And that's where he said, and that's where the tribe of Joseph is. So we see that, listen, some people might not agree with the 12 tribe chart, but I don't think they understand what it's actually saying, right? We're not saying that every single person in this land is, like, for example, Mexico. We're not saying every single person in Mexico is an Issacharite. But what we're saying is that in Mexico is where you're going to find the majority of the Issacharites, right? With that, I yield. Kwame Asha.
Kwame Asha.